Hello everyone, this is Anna Luna and this is week 2 of our mindfulness practice together. You are hearing my voice and you are seeing almost pitch black, a little bit of light here and there because I am doing our practice today outside because today's practice is mindful listening. Now before we get into that, I just wanted you guys to take a quick moment and write down 3 things off the top of your head that you're grateful for this week. I'm going to go ahead and share mine, but please feel free to continue writing if you are participating, which would be wonderful, but don't feel obligated. Again, the 3 things I wrote down this week is I am thankful for technology. I think right now in our roles where we're at, the change is scary for us. I became an aunt for the 4th or 5th or dozen time. I can't remember. There was a lot of little nieces and nephews in my life. But my sister had to give birth alone because of this virus, and this is her first baby. And this is the first baby she was able to carry to term. And I wasn't able to be there for her or support her. And I think that is a huge struggle. But I'm thankful for technology because I've been able to video chat with her. I've been able to FaceTime her. I've been able to text her, follow up with her, call her. So I'm thankful for being able to have connections with people during this time where we feel so connectionless, where we feel so isolated, so alone. I'm just very thankful for having the technology. The other thing that I wrote down that I'm thankful for is my home. I had to cancel a trip to Hawaii because of the virus, where I probably would have been quarantined, which doesn't sound like the worst thing in the world. Actually, it sounds wonderful, but I would have been away from my children, and so that was a no-brainer to cancel. But if I had to be quarantined anywhere else besides Hawaii, I would choose my home. So I'm very thankful for that. This is the first home I've been able to buy, and so you have that connection to your first home, so it's pretty exciting. The last thing I put down on my list for this week is my career. I'm very blessed and thankful that I am able to have a career right now. I have spoken to so many friends and family members who've been furloughed or laid off during this time because their businesses can't afford to keep them on board, and the struggles and the pain and all of the emotions that they're feeling right now is very tough, and it goes to multiple degrees of people with that pain, and we feel that. And so I'm just very thankful that I have a career, even on the days where I want to rip my hair out and I'm getting extra gray hairs and extra stress lines and getting a little fluffier around the middle from stress eating. I'm still very thankful that I have a career and that I'm able to bring home a paycheck and support my family. So I'm thankful for it. Anyways, so today's practice is all about mindful listening. This is always the second practice I do with adults, with students. I think it's an amazing practice. I think that it really helps in so many different arenas. If you recall with talking about mindfulness, we want to stay in the present moment. And mindful listening can be done anywhere. It can be done in your home, in your car, before you go to bed. I'm choosing outside because this is my twilight hour where my children are asleep. Everybody in my home is asleep. Even my dogs are asleep. And for me, this is the peaceful part. I have a lot of extra things on my plate, as I'm sure all of you do. Running a household and children, young children, is quite a job during the day. So I don't get to get as much done as I would have hoped to, because that eats away my time with my children. And I don't get to be 100% in my role either. So it's changed. Everything's changed. Identities, norms, everything's changed. And it's hard to balance, and it's different and scary. And it can be frustrating. So at nighttime, that's when I get to do my work. I get to do grades, follow up with my students, I still teach college. I still have 2 classes that I'm teaching. I'm still here full-time working as a counselor, and now I'm running a household during the day, and so there's a lot. And this is my time at night where it's beautiful and it's peaceful. It's like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night here right now, and it's just beautiful. That's what made me fall in love with Maricopa. The fact that you can't see the sky right now from my phone because there are no street lights around me. And the sky is absolutely incredible tonight, and it is clear, and I can see the Big Dipper and the beautiful stars. So that's why I thought this was the perfect setting, even though you're not looking at me, which it's okay that you're not. This is a beautiful setting for mindful practice today, or mindful listening. So mindfulness, being in the present moment, staying in the present moment, and being present on purpose. We're training our brains, we're training our minds, we're training our whole bodies to cut the noise, cut through the fog, and be here in the moment. It does an amazing world of wonder by continually practicing it. And so I appreciate you guys who provided feedback. I did decide not to do a Facebook page. I think I'm going to put together a Google Classroom instead, because I would love for you guys to have as many tools as possible that you may be interested in incorporating next year with your kiddos. Mindful listening is a really good one in class, and after we're done with ours, I'll tell you guys how I utilize it in groups and how it could be participatory. And for older kiddos who you want them to practice writing, you can have them write down things. And so even the gratitude journal, you can have your kiddos do that every day in the beginning of the day during your morning time. There's a ton of ways to incorporate mindful activities throughout your day. And the thing I loved most about Maricopa Elementary School, besides the incredible team that you guys are, is I was walking around the classrooms, dropping off calming corners and seeing the spaces you guys provided for those amazing calming corners. And I saw your guys' schedules, and so many of you already have mindfulness built into your schedules with your kiddos. You brain breaks. You have times where kiddos can just unwind and just be and kind of clear all that out. So I think it's incredible. So anyways, I was thinking a Google Classroom so you guys can pull any resources that you want to. And the counseling department the elementary team has created a website that's going to be launched this week, since I'm technically making this week, whatever, we're on week 5,000. And so it has tools that we want you guys to have, because that's how we communicate, and that's how we can be together in a time where we don't feel like we're as connected or as together. I keep slowly rotating as I'm talking, but you guys really don't need to see my very, very messy backyard. My 5 and 2-year-olds love to, they love to trash things. Who am I kidding? They're wild monkeys. Those wild monkeys are very fast in La La Land, very fast asleep. So we're going to do a mindful practice right now. We're going to do our mindful listening. So I'm standing for this practice. You are never obligated to stay in one position. Mindful bodies and mindful techniques are taught in a sitting position, but we have variances and varieties to it as long as we're staying alert and focused. If we tend to lay down, we are too comfortable and we're going to fall asleep. I know there's a man named George Mumford who does mindfulness with sports, and he actually has his players lay down and does a visualization exercise with them. So he chooses to do it that way. Mindful schools, where I got my training in mindfulness first, it is taught as a mindful body, so you're in a sitting position, straight back, our feet planted on the floor. I'm actually choosing to do my mindful listening today, standing up, because there's not a lot of light, as you can see, and if I'm sitting on the floor and a bug crawls on me, you guys are going to hear a scream that will set the dogs off in the neighborhood. So it's safer for me, for my mental health, to stay erect and standing. So mindful listening, what I want you guys to visualize first, or what I want you guys to think about, is think about an animal that has really good hearing. The first thing that came to my mind was a bat, and I don't know why, but that's the first thing that came to my mind that has really good hearing. You guys might think of a bird or an aquatic creature or our pets, our dogs, our cats. Whatever you guys think of. This is an opportunity for a participatory thing with kiddos. If you're doing mindful listening, you can have them raise their hand. Tell me an animal that you think has good hearing. There's no wrong answers. Every animal has some kind of hearing. So even if they said a mouse, you're like, okay, great. Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know a lot about animals, so a mouse may have incredible hearing, and I'm just sounding like a fool, but that's a way to get them to participate. So then you're like, yeah, that's great. That's great. You can write it on a board. You can have them write it in a mindful journal or just any kind of journal on a piece of paper that they can hand in. So write that down first. After they write down the 3 things that they're grateful for, there's all kinds of ways to do it. Like I said, remind them of their progress and what they're doing. I created little notepads for all the kids, little notebooks, and it's construction paper, lined paper, fold it in half, burrito style or whatever it is, staple it, cut each of those in half, make 2 books out of 5 pieces of paper, have the kiddos write on them, decorate the front however they want, and then that was their little mindful journal. And it was super simple, super cost effective, and so that's why I chose to do it, because I always think about mindfulness as something that can be sustainable, but also something that could be cost effective. You don't have to invest a lot of money into it, but you do have those opportunities. You do have those things that you can do. So anyways, with mindful listening, we're thinking about an animal that has really good hearing, and we're going to be turning on our mindful ears. The kids love this for some reason. So mindful ears, let's turn on those mindful ears, and all that we're going to do is we're going to sit with our eyes closed, but because we're being trauma informed, we can keep our eyes open and just look to a spot. We're not going to turn off any lights. We're not going to do any of that. We're going to sit in our mindful bodies, or as I'm doing, standing in my mindful body. And we are going to I'm just going to do a minute with you guys, but you guys can extend this as much as you want with your kiddos. I usually did about 2 minutes with my older kids, 4th and 5th graders. For my littles, I would do about 30 seconds to a minute, depending on the group. Kindergartners usually about 30 seconds. You can adjust it and mix it up however it works for you and your class and your kiddos. You're the expert on your kiddos. I am not. So we're just going to take like 30 seconds or so, because I just want you guys to get a feel for this practice and what this practice is and participate in it. Actually, I'll do a full minute. So get into your mindful body, eyes closed, look into a spot, straight back, feet on the floor, hands in your lap. And when I prompt you, all I want you to do is listen. Let's begin. All right, everybody, let's focus back on my voice. This is another opportunity to be participatory, and you can write down the things that you heard or saw. The things that you heard. Or if you're doing this in a class, they can raise their hand and participate. I'm just going to say some of the things right off the top of my head that I heard standing out here in the backyard. I could hear traffic. I'm not around a really busy area, so I just think it echoes over here. I could hear the crickets, which sound amazing. I can hear the buzzing of my pool pump. When I first got outside, the buzzing of the air conditioning unit for upstairs was cranking pretty high, but that's no longer going. those were probably the most primary things that I could hear. There is a group of birds in this gigantic tree in the neighbor's house across the way, and usually they're singing and talking up a chorus, and I love it. I'll open my windows just so I can hear them. I'll open my windows in the morning so I can hear them. Sometimes you can hear the kids playing in the neighborhood, so everything's just very, very quiet right now. It's it's 9:30 at night, so a lot of people are asleep. So this is a great way for you guys to just practice mindful listening. And there's the ways that you can do it with your kiddos. And I decided not to do a mindfulness page, but like I said, I'll be doing a Google Classroom, so I'll send that information. And I hope you guys have an incredible, incredible rest of your day, rest of your night. And I'll be posting a breathing